Okay, so like to add a little bit extra to the problems, instead of them saying find this missing side length, now it would say here's a right triangle, and they give you all the sides. They don't necessarily have to give you all of them, but I did in this case. And it would say in this triangle ABC here, find measure of angle B. This is always going to be the angle you focus on because that's the one you need to find. So it'd say here's the angle I need to find. That's the longest side, so I know that's my hypotenuse. This side right here is adjacent, right, because it actually connects to the angle. And this side over there is opposite. Okay. You have all the sides given to you. I have opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent, meaning I can technically set this problem up with whatever trig ratio I like. So if you have a preference, you just use it. But that's only if they give you all three sides. So is there a preference between sine, cosine, or tangent here? Pick, I don't care. Sine, cosine, or tangent?
Cosine.
Cosine, fine. So if I set this problem up finding it, if I have all three sides, I'll pick the ratio I want.
A over H.
And it's always going to be the angle I'm trying to find, or whatever angle I'm looking at.
So 4 over 5?
And then 4 over 5, right? Because this is adjacent over hypotenuse.
Yeah.
See, now the issue with what we're at, like on Friday, we had a number we had here, and we had a variable missing over here. The difference between it is now I've got the variable here. This will be a strict number. So this is something that if you do not have a calculator that's scientific, this is going to be harder to do. The way you should work this is once you have this ratio set up, you want to go ahead and make it a decimal. Then the way you actually get this so that now you have B isolated by itself. If you look at your calculators, usually on the calculators where they have this button, if you look at the words right above it, you should see that. Okay?
No. Oh, it's you hit second.
Yeah, if you hit second, if it's on the phone, you gotta hit second before you'll see it.
What do you mean second?
There's a button that says second.
Like
Like this, second, like that. That's what, not like the word.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wait.
Guys, this thing right here, this is just the operation that essentially cancels this out if you're solving equations. This is the inverse of cosine. Usually, if it's in classes dealing with trig, this gets read as arc cosine. But for you guys, if you just can find this on the calculator, you should be okay. All right, so your process should be make this a decimal once you write the ratio. Come to here. Whatever this decimal is, you're going to do the cosine -1 of that specific decimal. So however your calculator works, however you got to type it in, go at it. If you got to do decimal first and second cosine, which if you're on the phone, I think you have to do that. I think you put 0.8 and then second cosine and it'll work.
36.86.
Wait, alright.
With 36 point what?
36.7?
87, yeah.
36 point. Yeah.
7?
Wait, no, I already said 36.9. It's 36.86.
Oh, 86? Okay, 9. So 9's fine.
Wait.
Alright, the next step would now be solving. It's more, I bring, you guys already have all the steps to be able to do this. This is more just so you understand what this term means. When you have a problem that says solve the triangle, this means basically find everything. So anything that's missing, find it. That includes angles and sides. So find everything means all angle measures, all sides. So with this case, they're going to be like, they'll either give you one side length and one angle, and they'll say find everything else, or it'll give you 2 side lengths and they'll say find everything else from there. In terms of doing this, this is mostly a practice of you being able to use all of the stuff you have for right triangles, which is really just for you guys right now, the trig ratios or Pythagorean theorem. So let's say I give you this triangle and I say, give me a number, and I'll decide where to put it.
35.
35, that's good. We'll do 35. And then give me another number.
23.
20 what?
6.
6? Do 26. Okay, so if I gave you that triangle right there and I said solve triangle ABC, okay? Usually with doing these problems, these are the easier ones just because you don't have to find, or you don't have to use trig stuff to find the angle measures. Okay? So, So there's 3 things that are missing. Anytime they give you a solved problem, there's 3 things. So the 3 things missing would be I need to know measure of angle B, which is going to be the first thing you find because that's the easiest. You need to find that side. You need to find that side. If it's easier for you to put variables on it, do so. Okay? Like if you want to put an X there and a Y there, that's fine. Just remind yourself to do it. When you find the angle measure, like the other acute, this is always a right angle in these problems. So that means that these two always have to add up to 90 degrees to make that an actual 180. So if you're missing one of the angles and know the other, just do 90 minus the one you know. And that's 55. Okay, so that puts that up in the problem. That's the easiest thing to do to start with. Once you're there, now you're back to the problems you would on Friday. Okay, where you decide which side you want to find first, you decide which angle you're working with, so on. So before I even go into actually finding one of these two, do you want to use the 35-degree angle or the 55?
Wait, real quick, how did you get 55?
55?
How did you get 55?
These two right here have to add up to 90, because this is always 90, and a triangle adds up to 180.
This is okay.
Like you can add them up to be 180 equals, but you're always going to be subtracting 90 from that, so it kind of saves you that step. Alright, so if I use this 55-degree angle, that means this side is now my hypotenuse, that side is my adjacent, and this is my opposite. Okay, there's a lot more choice for you guys in terms of doing this because now I've got to decide, do I want to find adjacent or the hypotenuse? That's completely up to you. All right, once I've picked the angle, once I've labeled the sides, now it's all up to you about which one I find first. Adjacent or hypotenuse, which one? Okay, so if I find this first, I'm not going to be using this because I have no number on it. I have to actually I have to actually use the side that has the number for me to actually create a proportion here. So I'm doing the hypotenuse and the opposite because I'm trying to find the hypotenuse and I'm giving the opposite. Okay, so out of
Sin.
these right here, this would be sine degrees.
Sin.
So, right there.
Sin, so.
All right, so again, when you set these up, this is the ratio you pick because of the 2 sides that are involved. After you write that word, you're always going to put the angle measurement. So this would be sine 55, which is a decimal. On the other side, you write out the actual ratio. So sine is opposite over hypotenuse.
Y over 26.
26 over y.
Oh, 26.
26 is the opposite. Hypotenuse is sine 55. I don't know what the heck that is. Someone get that for me. Point 8 something. What?
8.9. 92.
Okay. And this is the case, guys. I said put it over 1 just so you remember to cross multiply. So you get y times 0.8192. It's 26.
And divide.
Yeah, and divide.
Again.
It should be bigger than 26. It's
31.7.
Again, if you did this problem and you got something less than 26, you should realize that's the hypotenuse. It can't be less than 26.
31.
Okay, now look, once you get there, the option's up to you whether you want to do a trig ratio to find the third side or Pythagorean theorem. Doesn't matter. They're both going to get you the same answer. And the reason you can do Pythagorean theorem is once you find this, now I've got two side lengths. So if you want to do that, that's fine. So should I do Pythagorean theorem to find this side or another trig one? Fine, Pythagorean theorem. Okay. So if I was doing Pythagorean theorem, it would be like x squared, 6 squared, 7 squared. All right, because the longest side is the c squared part. What's 26 squared?
676.
It's that.
What is the brother? How do you decide which one is A?
C is the longest. That's all that matters.
100.
This one here is always the hypotenuse. That's the only thing that matters.
Opposite plus the other thing equals hypotenuse.
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you remember that's the hypotenuse, the other part doesn't matter.
31.7 squared is 1004.9.
1004 like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I got to subtract those, so is that 300 something?
Oh,
1,000.
minus 676.
328.9.
328.9.
9. And then to finally get that, now I got to do the square root of that. So what's the square root of that?
18.1.
So the three things that are missing would be this side
C and B.
and then those two angles. So again, if it says solve, that means I got to find everything.
54.
What angles?
Usually it's easiest to find, like I said, this side length first. Just because if you've got two sides, you do Pythagorean theorem to get the third. So this is the hypotenuse.
Yep.
So this should be my C in terms of a squared plus b
7
squared.
squared plus x squared equals 36 squared.
Yeah. Okay. So x squared is 36 squared minus 7 squared. I don't know what those are.
What's 36 squared?
So x is
Yeah.
whatever the heck the square root of all that is.
What are you doing?
What do you mean? Solving it?
No, x squared plus 7 squared equals 36 squared. Got that. And then 7 squared is 49, so wouldn't it be x squared plus 49
Yeah.
equals
But
36?
you've got to subtract it to move it to the other side to solve it anyway.
You're skipping a step.
No, I just didn't make them numbers. I didn't make them like out of radical form. Or I mean out of squared form.
33.3.
Then you subtract 49.
33 point what?
35.3.
I said that.
35?
No, she's lying. It's-
Which one is it?
Let me find down here.
35.3.
35.3?
Squared. 35.3.
Yep, there you go.
I got that a different way and I'm sticking to it, but whatever.
Okay. All right, now, this would be now for the stuff that I said at the beginning, the newer stuff. Okay, so if I have to find an angle measured, and all they give me are the sides, that means you have to set it up with trig, like sine, cosine, tangent. So again, this is completely up to you which ratio you use and which angle you find first. So do you want to find B or C first?
B.
All right, so again, I would go, here's my angle. That's hypotenuse. This side right here is adjacent, because that's the one that connects to the actual angle. That's opposite.
Wait, I have a question.
Hey, when you guys do this, give me one second. When you guys do this, to keep accuracy as close as you can, try to use the numbers that they start you with and not the one you found, considering that's like a rounded decimal. Usually it doesn't matter too much, but it just keeps accuracy a little better.
Okay, so if you were trying to find angle C, the whatever with
Yes.
C, would that be adjacent?
7 would be adjacent then.
I see.
Alright.
Okay, so with that being said, what I just said with use the 2, considering this is the one I just found, I kind of want to ignore it and stick with opposite and hypotenuse, just because these are the numbers they gave me, so I don't want to stray too far from where they actually started.
So that'd be sin.
Yeah, so I would start it with sine, And the way you write sine, it's always sine, then the angle you're trying to find, and then on the other side you write the actual ratio. So opposite over.
7/36.
So again, I would say make this a decimal. So what's 7 divided by 36?
0.19. So this is
0.19, yeah.
0.19?
Yeah.
Can you just say 0.12?
No.
Or I mean just 0.2?
Okay. And then now is where once you get that as a decimal, you do the second sign or sine -1, however you want to say it, or arc sine of 0.19.
0.19.
And then guys, the last bit here to actually solve it will be find the other angle, which if you just remember those two together have to add up to 90 degrees.
So 90 minus 11.
So 90 minus 11 would be 79. That would be the easiest. And that'd be everything.